Continuing in the laws of the festivals about the laws of electricity, and one of the differences connected a little bit is the issue of bathing. Take a look at page 101. It says here, because of a variety of possible halachic issues, many do not bathe or shower on Yom Tov. So this is the standard. A lot of people don't realize that when you start practicing Orthodox Judaism, is that for the entire Shabbat, most Orthodox Jews do not bathe, 25 hours. And similarly, on Yom Tov, bottom line is we get ready beforehand, we get all set, and then bathing is very problematic on Shabbat. A number of reasons. We'll see why. We've mentioned it before, and then when we learn the laws of Shabbat, there's problems with heating up the water, there's problems with squeezing out your towel, squeezing out your hair. There's problems with using a bar of soap. Some poskim don't like that. There's issues that maybe the rabbis were they put that together in the same boat as bathing. Bathing in of course we're now showering at home. But bathing can be in the river or in the ocean, and if you're in the river, maybe the sage is worried about if you're in the river, you'll start to build a raft. So bathing is generally not practiced on Shabbat or Yom Tov. However, the rules when it comes to great need are a little more flexible. A little more flexible when it comes to Yom Tov. Let's take a look. The biggest problem. Other than the rabbinic stricture against bathing, the rabbi said no bathing on Shabbat and no bathing on Yom Tov. That's your entire body. So they didn't want people bathing in the river. Like I said, maybe somebody will. There's so many issues that come up, and then when it comes to bathing, in the olden days, bathing was more of a public activity. There was a public bathhouse, and there were people who were heating up the bathhouse, right? That was their job. People would own a bathhouse, and you'd pay to get in, admission, and that was the only way you could have a nice hot bath, because there they had centralized. They had the heating system under the water, or however it is, they heated up the water. So this was the problem. Was a lot of these places were run by non-Jews or by Jews who were not keeping the halakha, and then maybe the danger is that they would be heating up the water on Shabbat. Heating up the water on Shabbat, of course, is cooking the water. Cooking the water is forbidden. And so the rabbi said, no bathing on Shabbat. If you bathe, the people in charge of the bathhouse are going to heat up the water. Heating up the water is prohibited, so we can't do that. And when it comes to nowadays, modern times, there's quite a few differences. The fact that we have indoor plumbing, everybody has a bathhouse in their home. And also we have something called a shower, which is not exactly a bath, but yet, bottom line is, the way we heat up our water in our homes is usually prohibited as well. Usually you have a boiler. In most countries around the world, you have a boiler, which is a big vat of water with a heating element inside, and you turn on the heating element, it heats up. That heating up the heating element is mav'ir, and then the water boils. That's boiling, that's cooking. So you have lighting a fire and cooking. So whenever you use the hot water in the indoor plumbing in our systems, you're violating the Shabbat. You cannot use the hot water on Shabbat. Now there is, here in Israel especially, there is a middle ground. Because by law here, every home has to have not only a hot water boiler, but they have to have a solar-powered water heater. That's why you see on top of every building in Israel, you see all these solar panels. It's by law. You must have a solar panel. It's to conserve energy, use less electricity. The sun, or in the Middle East, there's plenty of sun. The sun heats up the water for us. And so there's a debate among the poskim whether or not water that is heated by the sun is prohibited. It's already a long discussion in the Talmud. Talmud says that if it's heated by the sun directly, there's no problem. You're not doing anything. Nobody's lighting a fire. But if it's not direct, if the sun heats the vessel and the vessel heats the water, then we got a problem, because vessels heated up look exactly the same as vessels heated up by fire. And so people might get confused. Bottom line is, regarding solar-powered heaters, there is until today a debate. Some rabbis permit it. They say that if you don't have your electric boiler working, and it's purely the water that's going to be hot in your house, in the hot water tap, it's purely because of solar power, you can use it on Shabbat. Other rabbis say, not good, because it's not directly heated by the sun, and not only that, it's more complicated. The way we have to get into a longer discussion about how the piping works in these systems, because every time you turn on the tap to take some hot water out to wash your hands or to wash your dishes, cold water goes into the tank to fill it up. It's automatic. It's one system. It's a cycle. So you take out water here, cold water goes in. Where does the cold water go into? It goes into boiling hot water. And then it's going to get heated up. So every time you use the hot water, you're going to be heating up cold water, which is cooking, which you can't do on Shabbat. But Yom Tov, you're allowed to cook. So maybe you can use the hot water on Yom Tov. As long as the electric water element is not being used, all you have to worry about is that, the water is going to be cooked by the cold water going into the hot water. It's not such a problem, because we said you're allowed to cook on Yom Tov. Ken, Boker Tov.
They started.
All right, we are being called to celebrate.
Rav Listen is not here yet.
Whatever Rav Micha wants. Okay. Okay, the Seder. Rav Weinstein's very excited. His son just got engaged. So we're going to go have a l'chaim with them in the other room. Come, let's go have a l'chaim. We'll come back and study in a minute. I'm going to turn this on.